Hello, ladies and gentlemen from around the world. Welcome back to our Saturday special program. It's really a delight to be back here with you, and I hope you're doing great wherever you are. Please sit back, enjoy, and invite your friends to join us because today we're going to be having a very special episode. I'm your host, Joshua Amatare, live from Kyiv, Ukraine. Please share this link on your social media platforms. We're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, so you can watch it on whichever platform is most convenient for you. Please share it on your wall, send it via email, send this link by SMS, by WhatsApp, whatever you've got, Telegram, and tell your friends that we've got an interesting show for them today. We have a guest all the way from Africa, and he's going to be talking to us about his journey from religion to becoming somebody who is reaching out to the Muslim community. Now, this is a segment you don't want to miss. He's a pastor. He's going to be telling you more about himself, and this is a story that you don't want to miss. So please invite everyone that you know, tell them that we've got a life-changing segment for them on air today, and they would be happy if they joined us. All right. So one more time, please share this link as many times as you can and invite as many people as you can. Without much further ado, I would like to welcome our guest all the way from Liberia. Hello, hello, Pastor Benjamin Yeager. Welcome.
Hello, Pastor Joshua. It's nice having
Hello,
you.
I
And
can hear you.
yes, it's nice having you. And thank you so much for the opportunity. And I'm glad to be here. And yes, what a wonderful opportunity it is to be on this program. I followed this program for more than.
Hello. Looks like we've lost Pastor Benjamin. Hello, Pastor. Can
Are
you
you
hear
hearing
me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
All right.
Yeah.
So please go ahead. You were saying something. You said
Yeah.
you followed the program for a while
Yes,
now.
I say I've been following this program for years, and I'm glad to finally have the time. I've called on the program a couple of times with DSA when he did some of those series about the route in the African church and some of the things that are going on that were affecting the continent, not only religiously but politically and socially, economically, and everything. So I follow this program religiously. So I'm glad to be finally here today to be able to share my story. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
And we like your background. It shows you're showing us some of Africa's natural beauty. So we appreciate that a
Yeah.
lot. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you become somebody interested in ministry? And what has your journey been like? Just give us a rough, give us some details about your life and how
Okay.
you began in ministry.
Okay. I have a long story. I'm a second generation of, let me say, kingdom citizen. My mother was a very committed praying woman. She was not educated. She was not educated, but she had a very strong faith. I think she had more faith than many theologians. She had a very strong faith and grew up in a home where I saw my mother as early as 5, 6. I would hear her praying for hours, praying for
Wow.
revival, praying for me. I'm a last of 10 children, so she'll be praying for me, and it was an inspiration to me. And somehow I was around 9 years when the Liberian Civil War began. I've just celebrated my ninth birthday in 1989 when the war began, and uh, within the course of the war, I saw evil, I saw wickedness at its higher peak, and somehow I felt that something was wrong with humanity, and I could not articulate it as a 9-year-old child, but I knew something was fundamentally wrong with human. And in the midst of that evil, I saw people being killed. Imagine a 9-year-old child, you've seen human intestine being used as a checkpoint and
Wow.
human heads and so forth like that.
Wow.
So it had a deep impact on me, and I was trying to find an answer to the things that were happening, but I could not articulate them very well. So somewhere around 13 years, this preacher preached a message. I don't know the full content. How much can a 13-year-old young man remember? But somehow I just decided to go forward and make a commitment to Jesus. And I felt something deep in my heart. And then from that day forward, uh, I got a point where I was in secondary school. I said that I wanted to be a historian. I wanted to study history and so forth like that. And then when the war was very tough in Liberia, I decided to transgress. I mean, I decided to move to Ghana. So while I was in Ghana on the refugee camp, uh, in the midst of another level of hopelessness, you there, family far away from you, the war is still fighting, and miraculously God provided me a scholarship to go to Eastern Ghana to study in a Bible school. And I think out of that arrangement, it was how my journey of ministry and faith and everything began and so forth like that. And that was around 2003. I was a very young man. When most young people were in Ghana, well, maybe enjoy the refugee life and so forth like that. But then I took that step of faith, went to Ghana, and from Ghana, while I was in a refugee camp, did some mission work in Ghana to Ghanaian villages and so forth like that. And further, with the quest to advance myself and the knowledge, I decided to proceed to Nigeria, specifically to Benin City, Edo State. Yeah, that's where I went, and pastored across 3 countries: Ghana, Liberia, and Nigeria as well. So yeah, the longest I've lived out of the continent of Africa has been 2 months, and that was in the U.S. in about 3 years ago. So all my life in Africa, doing the African thing, looking at Christianity from an African perspective. Yeah, basically that's how it has been.
Amazing. So, what was your
Yeah.
experience like when you went to Benin in Nigeria? Were you in a Bible school or were you running a church?
Yes, of course. Yes, I was in a Bible school and then I was doing ministry. But then when I got to Nigeria, uh, I came from a partially Pentecostal and a Baptist background here.
Okay.
And then when I got to Ghana, I saw the proliferation of prophecy and all these things. I started growing some level of skepticism of some of the things that were going on. Because every service you went to, somebody was either under the impression that they had to prophesy to you. And I did receive some of those prophecies, by the way. Some of which were not, most of which were not true, by the way.
Wow.
Most of which were not true but again, everybody had that expectations of going to receive prophecy and so forth like that. But then after I went to Bible Training Center, left from there, and then went to Nigeria, I went to enroll at the Dausa Bible School as well. And of course, 2007, around about there, Pentecostalism was proliferating in Nigeria at a higher level. That's when the Joshua, Suleiman, and the other guys were coming out into ministry and all the kind of stuff like that. But then I saw some things that were fundamentally wrong. And interestingly, Suleiman's mother and I graduated from Bible college together.
Wow.
We graduated from Bible college together. Yeah. His mother is she part of Church of God Mission. So I think she's a deaconess there. So she and I graduated from Bible college together. Of course, she's like a mother, but we graduated together. So somehow I went to Bible college, but then I saw something fundamentally wrong with the Nigerian church. I saw men of God being venerated more than Christ. I saw some things that made me to question, and I said to myself, is this the kind of version of Christianity that people crave for? Then I think it's fundamentally different from the kind of biblical Christianity that was presented to us and so far like that. I saw conferences that people would pay money for the conferences. When they come, they had to buy food. There was, all these things that I was asking myself, why is it that the church only wanted from people, the church wasn't giving back to people? And all those things made me to begin to question a lot of things and so forth like that. But then before leaving from Ghana, I have started interacting with Dr. Miles Maru's material, right? So I started, because I first came across around 2003, 2004. So I started interacting with his material, and somehow I realized that his teaching of Christianity was different from the Christianity I was used to. The kind of Christianity that sought to, all the different things and stuff like that. So those were the kind of background information that informed me. And even though I was in Bible college, most of the things that I saw, not the Bible college teaching, but most of the things I saw and lecturers and Pentecostal pastors presented, I feel they were fundamentally flawed and they were far from biblical Christianity. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that means that what they were teaching you was different from the results you were seeing. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. In other words, we're doing strong courses and people are sticking to the word. Some of these lectures, because we're using kind of mixture of American curriculum, right? So we're using this curriculum, but then this lecturer, they will come and then they will make students to be, that I understand the Nigerian culture, honor is very important for elders and so forth like that. But sometimes I saw a level of extremism in some of the things they were doing. They were extremism and so forth like that. So I began to be very skeptical of the kind of Christianity that was being portray in my very eyes and so forth like that.
All
So
right.
basically, what I did was, So what I did was that I felt that this was something that I needed to question and I needed to investigate. And
Okay.
these are some of the things. Yeah. So I started buying books. I started something, and then I went to Ibadan somewhere around 2008 and 9. I was attending a friend's wedding, and then somebody told me about DS's book, Trash Shipped. You know, and then when they mentioned that book, I felt that it was a book I needed to read because the title alone was interesting and so forth like that. And I started hearing about this Nigerian pastors in Ukraine who are doing wonderful things, and I realized that he and Dr. Masma will have some connection. And I said, well, this man is somebody whom I need to follow. Of course, those days DSA were not running program of on internet and what and so forth. So the only way you could get him either through his writing and through his book and so forth like that, and so forth. So that's how my interest and things are. But I began to investigate some of the things that were happening in Pentecostalism, and I saw that there were fundamental flaws with Nigerian Christianity. And I would sometimes stay on campus. I would argue with some of my colleagues who were now so indoctrinated to this thing. And then one of my friends was then running a master's degree program in Lagos in theology. And my friend made a comment in one research he had. He said, this researcher came on and said that Nigerian Christianity is why, or African Christianity is why, but in the Nigerian context, African Christianity is why, but it was not deep. And that's what I was seeing. And I said there was something fundamentally wrong, and those are some of the things that inform my critical stand and some of the things that I felt that I wanted to do differently in the kingdom, and to stand for truth and to practice biblical Christianity, because I felt that it was what transformed Europe, the Reformation and all these things. Why is it we said we were Christian, but then we didn't see any changes and so forth in our daily lives and so forth. Yeah.
All right. So, what exactly triggered you when you got back to Liberia, or when did you decide to go back to Liberia and then begin ministry?
Okay,
When
so
did that shift take
yeah, I
place
saw
from being a religious mindset, or being somebody who
yeah,
had a religious mindset, to somebody who
yeah,
embraced the kingdom message and then
yeah,
decided to start
yeah,
acting on it?
yeah. So I'm in Nigeria in my final year in Bible college. My fiance, whom I then met on one of my internships, because what the Bible school normally do is while you're in Bible college, they will send you to different churches to do internship to practicalize what you're learning. So I go there, and then I met this young Nigerian lady, out of just French, casual friendship and so forth like that. She's studying chemical engineering, and I go to a church and we just exchange number, and then all of that relationship built. So I'm finishing up, and then I have an alternative. Do I stay in Nigeria or do I go back? I realized that my country has been battered by civil war, and I felt that there was a need to somebody to go back, and there was this burden that I didn't feel. My I could stay in Nigeria. My wife parents are leaders in the Church of God mission, and I could find opportunity to do ministry in Nigeria and live comfortably and so forth. But then I said that to myself that, well, I think I needed to go back to Liberia to contribute to at that time the war had just ended. We have had our elections that about 3 years or so. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was in power, and then I told my fiancée that I was going back. So I had make her to declare that, listen, I'm going back to Liberia, and if you want to have a continued relationship with me, you have to make the sacrifice, and you have to go back to me, because I don't intend to stay in Nigeria. And then when I was leaving, I said to myself that the Christianity I'm seeing here is not the kind of Christianity I want to practice. So while I'm in school, I'm buying more books on from Dr. Miles Maru. I'm buying most of his books on the kingdom. I'm listening to most of his kingdom teaching, or Rediscovering the Kingdom. I think there was a series I called Rediscovering the Kingdom, and I had a video of that, and I had to watch it over and over and over. And I realized that there was a complete distinction between religion and the kingdom. So I come back, and then initially, while I come back in 2010, I'm preparing for my wedding, so I'm in and out. So I decided to attach myself to the ministry. But most importantly, I decided to work with young people whose lives have been shattered by the Civil War. So we involved with this youth ministry. We go various community. We plan youth clubs. We bring either Muslims or Christians together. We teach them principles. We teach them from the Word of God, and then we're organizing youth camp. And that ran for like 3 or years. So and sometimes we brought up to 200-300 young people together. And
Wow.
revival would take place and so forth like that. Yeah, in various part of Liberia, the records are there. So within that period, I'm in and out arranging my marriage, my wedding and so forth like that, because my wife then wife to be, who is now my wife, had to come to Liberia to observe, because that was the requirement of the family to come and see my background and other things and so forth. So I go and get married. After I get married in 2012, and then I tell my wife, I said, listen, I have to go back, but I stay like 6 months in Nigeria. I worked in Ikiti for a while. I taught literature and English language in Ikiti for a while. So I was telling you that I got familiar with a little bit of the Nigerian culture. So 2013, around that March, April, I decided to come back. When I come back, so my wife is preparing to come because she has our first son. She's carrying the pregnancy of our first son. So our first son, she gave birth to him. And then I'm working with ministry. Then in the ministry that I'm even working, I decided that, listen, I'm restless. The things that I want to do, I'm on somebody's ministry, and I will not be able to do it because there are some of the things I want to implement here. It might be difficult for me to implement. So I write a letter to the leader, the pastor, and say, listen, I'm going to resign, and my wife and I want to just start a fellowship. Initially, we wanted to just start a fellowship in a Muslim community, and we started there, and people from the Muslim community began to come to the church. But then people advised me that, listen, these people, you need to further disciple them. And just having a Tuesday service, it will not be enough, so you have to disciple them. So out of that arrangement, we go and we start a fellowship in the middle of 2 months.
Wow. Okay, so let me slow you down for a bit. You said that you left Nigeria because you wanted to practice a different version of the kingdom, correct? So what triggered you? Is it because of the religious atmosphere that made you leave Nigeria? Or is it the passion you had for your country, Liberia? Or was it God that said you had to go back to your people? Because what you did is very unusual. And I want people to be able to understand it, because what most Christians do is that they run away from problems and they go to places that are a lot more comfortable. But you did the opposite. You went from a comfortable place relatively, which was in Nigeria, and you went back to a war-torn country, and it's not because you didn't have a choice. That was your choice. So I want you to talk us through the process that made you to leave Nigeria where it was comfortable and go to a place where there was war and where a lot of people were having trauma.
And to be honest with you, excuse me, Nigeria was comfortable. My wife had just gotten a chemical engineering degree. She's from Delta State. Even if she waited about a year or two, she would have gotten a contract to work with an oil company. And I would live a very comfortable life, right? But I've had this restlessness in my soul that I needed to come back. I needed to come back. So all of that, the pastor who was then pastor in the church I used to fellowship with, he had an opportunity to go to America for a conference, and then there was a void in the church that I used to work with. And then he tells me clearly that, well, we're looking for a pastor. The church said they want you to come back, and so forth like that. And I've already had this restlessness in my soul that I needed to come back to my country to be able to contribute to the quota and everything. So I was not even considering comfort, because if I wanted comfort, I would have lived in Nigeria and I'll be relatively comfortable, right? For some reason, they told me, the pastor said that, but we don't have any money to pay you. You just come to run out your service. So I said, okay, well, it was a step of faith, because here am I have my wife who is running her youth service, and she's carrying our son. She's 6 or 7 months pregnant. She's doing her youth service in Ondo State. So I'm teaching nearby to Ikiti State. So I have to visit every now and then. So I have to leave to come. And then, but the thing that pushed me was the fact that I felt that ignorance was plaguing my people, and I needed to come and to be able to help and contribute to the fact that we just ended a 14-year devastating civil war that I lost my own family members, I lost some family members, I lost friends, I lost people whom I knew. So it was more of purpose that brought me back rather than comfort. Purpose that brought me back rather than comfort.
Purpose rather than comfort. That's something that I wanted to draw attention to, because most Christians don't pay attention to purpose. They only pay attention to comfort. They only pay attention to what is good or what they feel is going to be the easiest route for them to take. But you went the hardest route because, number one, you said you were restless. Number two, you said that you had a call. You felt like you were needed and there was purpose over there in Liberia. So I don't know how many people are listening to us today. I hope that whatever restlessness they're feeling, whether you're in the diaspora or you're in the wrong church or you're in the wrong environment, I hope you listen to that prompting that you have in your heart to pursue your purpose instead of staying in comfort. It might be that you have a good job. It might be that you're comfortable in your church, in your position. But if there's a restlessness in your spirit, that is a prompting that you're in the wrong place and there is purpose waiting for you somewhere else. And the earlier you begin to pursue it, the more effective you will be, and the earlier you will be happy. And I can see that you don't regret leaving Nigeria and you're really prospering in Liberia, which is the next phase that we're going to go into. So now, please, I want you to talk to us about how you
Yeah.
decided to start ministry, not in a place where
Yeah.
there were many churches, but in the middle, like you said, of two mosques. So
Yeah.
talk to us
Yeah.
about
Too
that.
much. So I think everything is provident, Joshua, Pastor Joshua. Everything is provident. So I go to this place, and I'm having this fellowship in this school campus, owned by one of our lawmakers here. We call them representative here in Nigeria. I don't know what you call them. I think you call them your lawmaker. So
Yeah.
he's at the lower house. So he gave me this place here, and then Pastor Joshua, a temptation comes to me. This lawmaker, because he comes from a Christian background, he comes to me. We have a conversation one day. He said, "Listen, I'm thinking of starting a church as well, and
Okay.
maybe probably he's seen my potential and so forth like that. But I tell myself, I don't want to start a church for a politician. I don't want to start a church for a politician, because if I consented to start a church, he will provide the equipment, he will provide a salary, he will provide everything that I need, and I will start a very nice church and so forth like that. But then there is a temptation that if he does that, he will want to control what I do there."
Yes.
Right? So I just listened to him, and I didn't give his that conversation any credence. I just turned it away. So he allowed me graciously to be having this fellowship in his on his school campus. And then after like about a month or so, most of the people that come to our Bible study are complete. Some of them are complete Muslims.
Wow. What
They're complete
percentage of
Muslims.
Liberians are Muslims?
We of course, Christianity will be higher, the
Okay.
percentage, but maybe Islam should be like we have a percentage. I can't quantify the particular percentage about. Maybe you have like 35 or something. So maybe give and tell you, we are like 4 million people. So we
All
are not
right.
really many, right? So
Okay.
I can't put the percentage on that, but we have a group of traditionally or animistic kind of follower, and then we have of course, Christianity. But there are Muslims communities that you have mostly Muslims,
Okay.
their community, or you have Muslims, so forth. So that particular community, it has been a predominantly Muslim community for a very long time. So we go there, we talk to people there. My wife and I, we go there, and then this is what I do, Pastor Joshua. When I'm starting this fellowship, I don't go to have revival. I start Bible study on the street.
Wow.
I go to the places because I'm breaking away from religion. So I go to the place where they are playing gamble. I start a Bible study there. I start a Bible study there. They're playing gamble. I go to a place where sand trader are having their sand truck on the road. I start a Bible study there. So I start multiple
Wow.
street Bible studies in different locations. And you'll be surprised that one of those gambling center I established the Bible study. One of the young men, turn his life over to Jesus from that gambling center. From that gambling center. So I'm
Amazing.
going to places that regular religious people will not go and establish Bible study. But I'm going to the gambling center, and when I go there, those guys gave me audience. They gave me audience, and I teach a Bible. They ask questions and so forth like that. And some people made commitment to Christ again from those centers and so forth like that. So we run the
Amazing.
center for a while, but then there are people in the center who are not being exposed to the teaching of Christ. So who come to our Bible study? So the need is felt. So one of the sisters who comes from a Muslim background, she said, "Oh, listen, Pastor, we have a hall here. It's in our town, in between two mosques, in between two mosques, and it is getting dilapidated. Nobody is using it. So I can talk to the youth chairman from our little town who can probably permit us to use it, because we don't have the money to go and rent a hall to start a church fellowship." So as God will have it, she goes to the person, and the person says, "Oh, the youth chairman met us, lead us in this place." They say, "Oh yeah, but what is wrong? The people can come and use the place." But then the thing is that we are in between two mosques. And some of the people who we started fellowship with, they said, because we are going to move the church in the Muslim community, and they have had terrible things about that community, so they are not moving with us. We said, well, that's it. But if God is giving us this place, I'm sure we should move there. So that's how we move into that particular place, and we start a fellowship to that place. Yeah,
Amazing. So you mean
yeah,
that you guys began
yeah.
the fellowship, and what was the reaction from the Muslims around there?
You will be surprised. We go for the community, we engage the community, we reach our hands out to the children, and then you'll be surprised that one ardent Muslim old lady was the one that swept our building, the front of the building, many morning. Blessed memory, she died like about a month ago, but
Wow.
she will be the one to come and sweep for us. She sweep the place before we come for service. She sweep the place, and we're reaching out. We open our arms. We're getting involved with humanitarian work. Even though some of the adults are not coming, but their children are coming, and so forth like that. And I know further I will talk about some of the things we're doing with them. But just that acceptance of the people, it was an amazing feat, and so forth like that. Now there are some churches that I passed through there, but we decided to carry kind of kingdom kind of strategy. We're not going to be judging people. We're just going to love them, and we're just going to preach the message of the kingdom. The message of the kingdom. God rulership in the hearts of man that will influence his fears and so forth. And that's just as simple as we take. We didn't carry any kind of complication and a complicated message and think to try to impress people about the gospel necessarily in a false way and so forth like that. Yeah.
All right. So tell us why you were bold enough to start a church in a Muslim community, because this is Africa we're talking about. We know of all the religious wars. We know of all of the bloodshed that has taken place due to this interreligious strife. So why were you bold enough to go and start a church in such a place? What prompted you to do that?
Well, good question. I would say firstly it was purpose, but secondly it was done out of necessity.
Okay.
Here we are. We started this fellowship. We're having like 15% attending, 15 to 20% attending the fellowship. We don't have a hall to go and worship. And then the sister come and give us this opportunity.
Okay.
This sister come and give us this opportunity. Guess what? I have to grab it, Pastor Joshua. But here is the point. The point is that naturally speaking, as a person, I have my fear.
Okay.
I have my fear. I know, Liberia, we are not formed with religious war a lot, but the fact remains that we have some little bit of religious, scammages or sometime over the years or so forth like that. But and to be honest with you, I did not even discover that there were 2 mosques. I knew there were a mosque in the place, but I didn't even discover there were 2 mosques until we moved in. Until we moved in, then I discovered that we were between 2 mosques. What was I going to do? Now we are in a place where I moved out. But as I said, some of the people, when they heard that we're moving in that place, they were apprehensive, and some of the folks who have started the Bible study, who attended the Bible study in another area, they said they were not following us. And you know what? That was it. But we're convicted. My wife and I prayed about it, and we felt that it was a need for us to go there. And so now we've had challenges in that place. We had thieves breaking out in the building that we're using, the stolen equipment and so forth like that. But you know what? God has always provided us an equipment again and so forth like that. And that particular community, they had issue with drugs, they had issue with crime, they had issue with teenage pregnancy, and they had different kind of issues. And where would Jesus want to be to start a church? Even though most of the people in that place, they are I wouldn't even call middle income family, but they are no income family. But I believe God wanted us to go in that place there. And interestingly, our church had a group of sisters who also come from a Muslim background, who were reared by a Christian aunt, who are also part of our fellowship. So in that way, it was some kind of assuring for us that here we are, we have these sisters who are coming from Muslim background, and they've joined our fellowship, and we are going to establish a church in a Muslim community. So I think all of those it was combination of different factors, but mostly purpose and necessity. That's what I would consider it.
Amazing. So what will your message be to Christians who think that they need to retreat from these dangerous, in quote, neighborhoods, or people who think that they need to be in a place that is a lot safer in their own hearts? Because like you said, you prayed about it, there was necessity, but there are a lot of people who, if they were in your shoes, they will keep praying until they find somewhere else. They will never jump at the opportunity to take up a building in the middle of 2 mosques, or even in a Muslim neighborhood, because like they will say, I need to protect my life, I need to take care of my family, I don't need to put myself in danger. Because the gospels we're hearing these days are not gospels that makes us to reach out. They are gospels that make us to be a lot more protective of ourselves and to be a lot more cautious in our movements. So what will you say to Christians who will say, who would have faced the same situation?
I just want to say that, you see, we need to understand that the fundamental reason for the gospel is not for comfort. We need to understand that. I read books on history, and I see risk people took. Let's talk about some of the missionaries that came. Even though some of them, they came, they were partnered with colonial masters, but some of them that came, they left their comforts in Europe. And let me just say about comfort. I went to the States in 2018. I was there for 8 weeks. Do you know that people were telling me, why are you going back to Liberia in such suffering and deprivation? Why are you going back there? But why would I want to leave a place that I believe that God has sent me back? and then I want to go for comfort. Because the thing is that most time comfort will make us to live comfortable life. But the thing is that we'll not be fulfilling purpose. So I believe that I was growing in that community, and I don't know how many percentage I will give to necessity, but I believe it was divinely appointed. It was divinely appointed. And I was going to that community. The light was shining in the hearts of those young people. Maybe some of the others may not be receptive to what we are preaching and so forth like that. And what we're doing there, it reflects God's heart. It reflects God's heart. And there are people who will be probably hear our messages and they may not be willing to come out to do public profession, but deep down in their heart, in their secret chamber, they may be serving Jesus. We may never know. We may never know. Yeah. So for me, I think any Christian who think that they can give a hardship and persecution because of comfort, I think they miss the essence of the gospel, because that's the gospel is meant to reach the people that God desperately needed for the kingdom. And most time religious people will fight for comfort and so forth like that. And for me, I feel that comfort sometimes can be the enemy of progress, or it can be an enemy of purpose. It can be an enemy of purpose, because we need to go to where God wants us to be, and we need to go to where God's heart is for the people that He wants to reach. So if we miss these fundamental concept and truth, then we present a gospel in an environment that may not even be appreciated, and we try to protect what we're doing, and then we close ourselves so that we don't allow people to come within our ranks and so forth like that. So I think that's what God wants us to be. That's what God wants us to do. We all may not have it, but God wants us to take the risk and trust. And when we went to that place, we had to depend on our security, because we heard stories that people were involved with demonic activity and so forth like that. But we're not going to be killing demons. We're preaching the gospel, the light of the gospel. And that's why we keep preaching in that place. We're not going to be fighting demons and all the kind of stuff like that. We're preaching the light and the truth of the gospel. Yeah.
Amazing. I hope our viewers are
Yeah.
enjoying what they're hearing, and I hope they are enjoying the truths that you're sharing, because these are very vital and they apply to every single person. Because what you've done, as outstanding as it is, you're not supposed to be alone. Every single person is supposed to be doing something similar to what you've done in their own sphere, no matter where they are, no matter the country that they're in. As long as you're in your promised land, you're going to face challenges, but at the end of the day, you will be victorious if you press on. You'll be victorious if you show courage. You'll be victorious if you put purpose ahead of your comfort. There is no way that you will not have some headway. So please talk to us about some of the initiatives that you began to put in place in order to reach out to some of these people in the Muslim community. Tell us of some of the projects that you put on ground.
Couple of projects. We're starting in a property. We don't have a land. But I want to start with the most recent one. Just most recently, we provided a scholarship of almost $500,000 Liberian dollars. And if you don't know the value of the Liberian dollars, our exchange rate currently in Liberia is like 173. And Nigeria is around 500. So our money is almost three times valuable than Nigerian naira.
Wow.
So we started a project. Yeah, the Liberian dollar is more valuable than the naira in terms of exchange rate. So we started a project where we have 16 children from that community with different partners partnering with her. We provided 100% scholarship for them in a private school.
Wow.
And if you live in a country where most of the people live on less than $2 a day, and you're paying a school fee for a child that costs around $200, that's a lot of money.
Wow.
You know, it may not be much in it may not be much in Ukraine or maybe in Euro in America.
No, for people who earn $2 an hour, $2, is that a month or a day?
$2 a day. $2 a day.
For people who earn $2 a day, whose kids are able to go to a school of $200, that is something that is really outstanding. How many children are you sponsoring?
We have 16 children that we sponsor for the scholarship this year, and we pay their school fee off. In a period of 3 months, arranged with the school around 500,000 Liberian dollars. If you did a calculation, it would be almost around 4,000 United States dollars. We don't have a land, but we put those children in school. And
how did you pick these kids? Are they kids that come to your church, or are they kids who you just found in the community?
Very, very good, very good. And that's why we wanted to come in, because during the COVID-19, most of the kids are sitting home. They haven't gone to school before. So my wife, who is a science and a chemistry teacher, having a background in chemical engineering, she decides to have a study class with these children. Some of them, their parents came to the church, but some of them are completed, not their parents don't come to our services. So
Okay.
she had this study class here, and out of that study class, she realized that the disparity between those kids in that community and other kids she deals with in other community, the disparity is just wild.
Wow.
And then she get restless. She said, "We need to do something." There was this Nigerian lady come to Liberia. She's doing church with her husband in a poor Muslim community, and she decides to get involved. So we began to pray, and we don't have the money. I tell her, listen, we don't have money, and so forth like that. We decided to pray, and then we talked to a few friends, and we tell them that, listen, we have this brother, and we think that God wants us to help these children. And then out of that, my wife began to look at the most desperate ones among the group she was working with, the children she was working with, and then she picked the most desperate one. Some of them were single mothers, some of them are orphans, and then she picked them. She did a vetting process, and out of that vetting process, she picked the 16, and that we decided to get on the scholarship.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So it all started by her offering her services during the COVID-19 period, just to keep the kids going, so that they don't fall too far behind academically. Correct?
Yeah.
Amazing. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, that's a Nigerian who moved all the way to Liberia, now offering her services in the Muslim community, and now they're able to offer 16 students a scholarship. I think we have the picture of your wife and the students in the school there. We'll put it up shortly. So please go ahead with the other initiatives that you have.
Yeah, so with that initiative, we felt that we started talking to other friends. So this year, one of the things we're fighting for is to have an exclusive scholarship. We still praying and trusting God for funding. We want to have an exclusive scholarship for just orphans.
Okay.
Just orphans. Exclusive scholarship. Ebola brought devastation to our country, and COVID-19 have also devastated our country as well. So one of the things we're thinking of, God opened doors for us. We want to have exclusive scholarship just for orphans. If we can find many orphans in our community, we'll reach the orphanage home where we can do some sponsorship and provide education for those children. So that's one of the things we're doing there. And we also have, during the COVID-19, we partnered with some friends. We had distributions of assorted food water and chlorinated material to about 13 orphanage homes in 2 counties in Liberia. So we spend more than $2,000-3,000 to distribute food items and so forth, because we felt that COVID-19 impacted people's finances, and those were running the orphanage home, they were people who were barely surviving, but they just wanted to give life to these children and so forth like that. So we did that. And then our church also has a partnership with a particular orphanage home. I think we shall send you some pictures or so forth like that. So we make donation every now and then. So we contact people if they want to make donation to the orphanage home, they will work to us, so we make donations. So we have a partnership with that particular orphanage home as well. So those are some of the initiatives we are involved with, and within the community we are, and some community further from where we are as well. And I want to say that our scholarship is not predicated on church membership, because if we do that, that would be completely out of the kingdom. Our scholarship is predicated on the need we see, and we got to meet the need. So it's not predicated whether your parents are coming to our church or not. We don't care for that. We don't really care for that. We just want to give these children life and so forth. Because when we begin to attach strain or conditions to our generosity, it's not Christ-like, and we should never do that. And as children of God, we should meet needs because we feel that that's what God wants us to do. Yeah.
Incredible. I believe that you're blessing a lot of lives this evening, and you're opening a lot of minds. I believe that those of you who are watching, please share this link, because I believe that what you're hearing is bringing about some form of transformation within your theology, within your belief system. Because what Pastor Benjamin is doing is something that is not very common, and is something that is not very heard of. Most people don't help anybody who is not a member of their church. So many people ignore kids who are not theirs. So many people ignore kids who are not around them per se, or who they don't know. But you can see that his ministry is reaching out to people in the community where they find themselves. And the church is relevant. The church is bringing solutions. The church is bringing answers to the ailments and the problems that they face in that community. And that is what the kingdom of God is about. And I like what you said. You said Jesus Christ would not have approved of attaching strings to doing good. And that's something that the church has lost touch of. Most churches would only do good when their strings attached and when they can get something in return. But I'm happy that you are showing us the kingdom style, which is just doing good out of love, in spite of the fact that these people might not be members of your church or that you might not be able to get anything from them. Their souls, their lives are what you're most interested in, and that is what God is interested in as well. All right. So how exactly can people find you? What is your information for people to be able to find you in case they want to help to donate to your ministry?
Okay, basically we are on. I'm active on Facebook, but we have an email address for the scholarship fund, which we are incorporating a particular part of the scholarship fund this year with orphans, and we'll still maintain the scholarship of the honor privilege, but we have a scholarship fund. It's called HAMB HAMB scholarship at yahoo.com. HAMB scholarship
HAMD or B?
B B
Is
B
that
B B
D for
as
dog or B for boy?
no, H for hand, A for arm, M for man, B for ball.
All right.
HAMB scholarship at yahoo.com. Yes.
Okay.
HAMB
Right
scholarship. Yeah.
right after this show, we'll put it at the top of the comment section so that those who want to
Okay.
contact you, who have and who
Yeah.
are in Liberia or in other parts of Africa or in other parts of the world who want to contact you will be able to find you.
Yeah.
And they can also find you
Yeah.
with this name on Facebook, correct?
Yeah, yes, my phone is on Facebook as well. My phone is on Facebook as well. And
All
we,
right.
we we share a lot of things we do on Facebook because we want to show accountability and also to provoke Christian love too as well. You know, sometimes people think that when you do some of these things, you're doing it all the wrong motives and so forth like that. But we do these things because we feel that and one of my work is I'm a teacher too as well. Of course, I speak a lot of youth camp. In fact, this month I have two youth programs I will be teaching at, and I run different initiatives. I run an environmental advocacy initiative
Wow.
because we destroy our environment and so forth like that. So whatever God gave me the strength to be involved in, I raise young people who get involved with some of these things and so forth like that. So I bring the idea to get involved with it, and they are running with it as well. So I may not be always present there, but they run with the idea and so forth like that. Yeah. So we involve with different initiatives because we believe that the church must be able to demonstrate the kingdom of God by the thing it does. The church must be able to demonstrate the kingdom of God by the things it does. And we don't want people to think that the church is anti-social, anti-environmental, and all those things, because God is the one that created the environment. And some of the thing we see today in the world is a result of human depravity. So the church must be able to bring holistic healing in every area, and those are some of the things we do. And but most importantly, Pastor Joshua, it's important for us to also remember that God's desire is for us to use the resources He has given to us to meet needs, to meet needs. And my wife, in addition to what she's doing, she runs a youth program. And so she has some group of young people. They don't come to our services. Most of them don't come to our services, our Sunday service or our weekly service. But she runs this program in different communities. So she brings almost around 30 young people together. They will come today in one community. They run a service, have fun, teach, and do different. And they leave and they go to another community. Just this summer, we brought almost 50 young people together, and we bought food, they bought food, we have fun and so forth. And some of those young people, my wife personally gave them personal scholarship as well, which we don't normally talk about and so forth like that. And she's doing amazing things because I couldn't have asked for anyone better, because she has a heart, and it will whatever length she has to go to be able. We are not rich, we are not we are just people who just want to use what God gave to us to be able to help humanity. And I think that's God's desire for us. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, talk to us about how you feel, because you told
Yeah.
us that you were restless in Nigeria in spite of the so-called comfort that was around you, and you were very uncomfortable with the religious things that you were seeing and with some of the things that you felt were not in line with the gospel. So compare how you felt in Nigeria with how you feel right now in the midst of all of these challenges, but doing the kingdom work. What has been the change within you?
I strongly believe that Liberia still had challenge, because the thing is that Nigeria is like the Africa of, the America of Africa. So anything that happens in Nigeria is exported to Africa, and I've been speaking against falsehood and so forth, and some of them have come to attack me and so forth like that. But the thing is that I believe I'm in the right environment. Uh, Everything that I hope to do has not been accomplished. But I believe I'm where God wants me to be. So I have a sense of fulfillment. I
Wow.
have a sense of fulfillment, and
Wow.
that fulfillment is not in. I don't have any money in my bank account. Uh, in fact, one of the things I did this year, last year, my wife and I started to get into. We get into agriculture. We have a 10 acres of land. I'm planting exclusively plantain, so that
Okay.
with that
So you're a
resources that will
farmer
be
as
coming
well.
out of that, of course. so
Fantastic.
uh so so with the resources that come from that, we can be able to use it to do kingdom work, right? And we don't have all the resources, but the thing that to just have that sense that you're in the right place, Pastor Joshua, is amazing. It's amazing because you know that whatever little contribution you're making, you're changing life. And somebody said we can never be wrong when we invest in people. Yeah.
Amazing. So now you have a sense of fulfillment, you have peace, you have joy. And in spite of the
Yeah.
fact that, like you said, you're not rich, you don't have all the money in the world, but you have a
Yeah.
sense of wholeness and fulfillment. Amazing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe that that is something that every human being wants. Even the richest of
Yeah.
men in the world wants that. That's why they give most of their wealth to charity, because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, in spite of all the
Yeah.
money that they have, it doesn't fill the
Mm.
void on the inside. It doesn't change
Yeah.
the fact that they still need to do something that is bigger than themselves and reach out to communities, reach out to the less privileged, and make sure that the world is a much better place than it was before. So, talk to us about, you said you talked about church shift, but talk to us about some other messages that you've listened to from Dr. Sunday that helped inform these actions that you're taking in this kingdom movement that you've created.
Listen, you know, I know friends have personally come to me. They say, "Well, we see that you share most of that Sunday stuff," and to be honest with you, do I agree with all the approaches of that Sunday? No, I don't agree with him, but I respect him. I respect him, right? So one day I hear this news about this lady that is carrying on this news about that Sunday on the internet, and then I went and wrote. I said, that Sunday, what will you say about these allegations? And that Sunday graciously, instead of responding to me, on Facebook, he graciously went in my inbox. He said, "But Benjamin, you and I talk on Facebook. So if somebody had an allegation against me, why don't you just?" So I wrote him. I said, "Okay, that's I'm sorry, but can you provide clarity because I want to, when I want to say something, I want to have facts." So he linked me to a link. He said, "Watch this link on Facebook about this allegation and so forth like that." And I think that was gracious, right? That was extremely gracious because it looked at the kind of caliber of person he is. I think it showed a level of humility and servanthood because he didn't even have to even answer me.
Yeah.
You don't even have to answer me. Especially when you come from Africa, where big people think they are not accountable to the people they follow, right? So I raised the issue with something. But and in addition to that message, that someone released a message some part of last year when he was giving the contrast, some of the things he talked about the Nigerian religious church of their quest for power, mediator between they and God and all the kind of stuff like that. It was something I even have it saved now on my laptop and my phone, and I listened to it over and over. I had to share with some people, and almost like some of the things he said years back. COVID-19 exposed the Nigerian church and exposed the African church. I would tell you for a fact, Pastor Joshua, pastors were vehemently against lockdown because somehow they believe that it undermines their legitimacy as pastor because they attach pastoral work to puppet ministry. Yeah. So that's one of the messages that also informed me. And there are many of them. For example, there was a message he talked about delaying
Delayed
gratification.
gratification.
Those are some of the messages that delaying gratification. So which is denial, self-denial, something like that. He wrote something on it and so forth. So those were something, and I follow some of his article often. These days because of my business, I don't follow the program most often, but every now and then I would chip in, I would read his comments, and I would so far like that. And I even supposed to have been on the mentorship program in Ukraine one time, but because of resources, so I could not have attended it. But I still have that in my plan that one day I'll have to visit the mentorship program and so far like that.
You can still do it online. It's available. You don't
yeah,
have to come all the
okay,
way here if you're not chanced, but
okay,
there is one that is
okay,
online that you can subscribe to,
okay,
and you get all the
okay.
information. They will send it to you. They
Okay,
will tell
I
you
think
what to do
I'll
and
have
all
to
that.
pursue that when I have some less work on my academic work currently. But
All right.
all of those things, and I'll follow him, and I will see him, and he was trying to break religion. But the thing is that religion has been ingrained into our thinking, and Pentecostalism have come with its own abuses and misrepresentation. So these guys, the things they do are the things that they think give them relevant, right? So trying to undo them is difficult. So it was his message that gave me the courage to begin to go on Facebook, on radio in Liberia, to be talking about some of these false things. And people have personally come after me, come after my family to attack our character and attack our. And so some of them say, "You don't have a big church. Why are you trying to criticize men of God?" And so forth. Like the issue of the coconut, people taking money from coconut and putting fire and all those things. I personally went on air because most of the pastors, senior pastors in our country were afraid. But I came on and I talked about it. And people came secretly to some of my friends and said, "Yeah, some of these things we are embarrassed with it, but we don't want to talk about it." So I said that was a level of insincerity on their part and so forth like that. So of course, he inspired me to be bold. He inspired me. He inspired me. Yeah.
Amazing. Can you,
Yeah.
before we go, can you tell us some of these things that you've been talking about in specifics? For example, when we're starting, you said that the way they venerated men of God more than God himself was one of the things that made you
Yeah.
uncomfortable. So can you give us at
Yeah.
least 3 other topics that you have seen
Yeah.
from your own observation
One
on the inside
yeah.
that you've seen that are not exactly the way they're supposed to be, but are widely practiced in the church?
Yeah. Number one, most of the Christianity we have in Africa is highly syncretistic. So we take a small portion of Christ's name and wrap it around our tradition. So it's syncretistic. And what that does is that it made people faith not to be established in the truth and the gospel and the kingdom. So they just take their product and package it with Christ's name. Christ is not in it, but they just package it with his name. That's one of the things. And the African church has a serious problem in relationship to reaching out and helping. You know, we buy all these expensive car for pastors, and I'm not against somebody having a car, right? And all these luxury, but rarely do we reach out. I'm working with a church from America. That church doesn't have up to 100 members. It's a small church. But that church has partnered with us to do very big things. But I will never be able to reach most of the mega African churches, the Winter Chapel and so forth, to tell them that I want to do some work and that they should work with me through my ministry to partner to do that thing. They will never do it. The next thing they will probably tell me, it will be either I take their ministry name and so forth like that. That church had never asked me to take its ministry name. They only help me because they believe that what I'm doing, God is in it, and they glorify God. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. And African churches need to look at that, look in that direction. And secondly, we need to understand that God looks at everybody the same way. We should never try to diminish people's value because we want them to honor us. And that's what the African church has done. That's why most Christians don't even know their own value. They only know the value of the man of God, but they don't know their own value. They don't know the way they can approach God or access God, because the men of God have made them to believe that they are the only one that have access to God, and they don't have access to God. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. I hope people are listening to you and are getting delivered, because some of these things you're saying, they're happening right to a lot of people who are on Facebook, who are on social media. They go to these churches and they experience these things on a daily basis. So I hope that their eyes are getting opened now that you're bringing it to the fore and you're talking about it and addressing it in such a very clear and in a very succinct way. All right, do we have the pictures? Are they ready? All right, so please put up some of these pictures so that the audience can see some of the work that Pastor Benjamin is doing. So please talk us through what we can see. Is this the COVID package picture that you were talking about?
This package was the donation we just made recently. So a Christian organization will work with this recently. Those are assorted food items, and that donation we're making it to an orphanage home. We were able to distribute about, I think, 40 of those cartons. An orphanage home where the lady run an orphanage home for about 28 orphans, and some of those kids she picked them from the dump site. So that's the donation we made. We made that donation little less than a month ago. Yeah, amazing. That's the donation.
Wow. Yeah. All right, next photo, please. Okay, this is the same orphanage place and the donation?
Yeah, the same orphanage. So, the same orphanage, and those are there. So we'll carry the photo and we'll carry additional ones again. So those are the pictures there. Yeah.
Okay. Next one.
Yeah.
All right. Are these some
Yes,
of
the
the
same orphanage.
orphans?
Yeah. Yeah, those are some of the orphans. Yeah, those are some of the orphans. Yeah,
Right.
and some of the adults when you see the public they work with the orphanage home. Yeah, yeah, those are some of the orphans.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yes,
Are these the
those
ones
are
your
yeah,
wife is teaching?
yeah, those are yes, those are some of the students from our scholar. Those are not all of them because they are around 16. So, but those are some
Okay.
of the students. Some of the kids who are there, they come from orphanage background. Yeah, that's my wife. That's
Okay.
Ruth. That's
Amazing.
Ruth, and yeah. So we have to take those pictures to send it to our friends that contribute towards these scholarships so that there was something. And all these
So
kids
all
came
these
up
kids
very
have been fully
amazingly
paid
well.
for. All these kids, their
Yeah,
school fees has been fully
yeah,
paid for them to attend school, correct?
yeah. Fully paid for. Fully paid for.
Wow.
Fully paid for.
Amazing.
Fully paid for. We pay everything. We pay and we pay for their lessons as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
For extra
Yeah.
lessons.
Yeah, we pray for extra lesson as well. Yeah, yeah,
Amazing.
because some of their parents are not educated and they come from very impoverished background. So if you just teach them and then you don't carry them through the lesson, they will not do well in the lesson. So we have to pay for extra lesson classes as well. So they stay and do the lesson before they go home. Yeah, yeah,
Incredible. What about this
yeah.
one? Is this also the orphanage?
This picture is a donation we are making to one of the orphanage homes during the COVID-19. Remember, I told you that we did often donation to 13 different orphanage homes. So those
Yeah.
kids you see that they are all orphans. They are all orphans, and those are some of the donations we made to those orphanage homes. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, yeah,
This is the same
yeah.
orphanage home?
No, these are different. There's a different one. So there were 13 different orphanage homes. So and on
Okay.
this picture you will see there will be different pictures and so forth. So we went to 13 different orphanage homes. Yeah. So all those ones you
Amazing.
see, whether they are all orphans. Yeah.
Wow. And all of them became
Yeah.
orphans during the war?
Some of them become orphan. Either maybe their parent died from COVID-19, or maybe the parent died of some kind of sickness and so forth, and maybe
Okay.
the issue of abandonment in this country where men were impregnated with me, they done something and so on. When but sometimes some of these children are literally abandoned along the roadside. I've
Wow.
heard story of that in orphanages where yeah, children are literally abandoned. That's why the kingdom message must take root, and the church must be responsible for these people at some level because they are God's image and God cares for them. Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. Next one, please. All right. This is you,
I,
right?
Yeah, this is me. I'm donating. This is another orphanage home. This is about 45 minutes from Morovia. This is another county. In fact, this is the county I come from because yeah, we don't have a state, so we have counties. So this is the county I come from. So I'm making that donation and just sharing and encouraging these people, and I'm making those that donation to them. Now, 2 bag of rice may not be much, but if you live in a country where people starve and there are not much, if you donate that, it means a lot for them. It means a lot for them. Yeah.
Amazing. So I think that's okay. Yeah, this is another one.
Yeah, this is another. Yeah, yeah. So those are chlorinated. The box there is a chlorinated box, and you see the oil, then you see the rice there as well. Yeah, because rice is actually our staple food in Liberia. Yeah. So
Okay.
those are all
Okay.
orphans, as you see there. They are all
Wow.
orphans. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Do a lot of people adopt in Liberia, or they are not able to do that?
They used to adopt, but I don't know. And those are some of the future programs our ministry, when as God blesses us, we probably we have to have a Christian adoption center where we encourage church members who have means to adopt some of these kids as well and give them a life. But I know that the government had a adoption program, but I think there was some abusing and so forth. So I don't know whether they have a moratorium on it currently. I don't have much of information, but people do adopt. But again, how many will they be able to adopt? So I
Yeah.
think if the church comes in the gap that is left, we can fill that gap and help those people, help those children, and give them a life. Because it will interest you that some of the sisters that come to our church, they were once part of the orphanage home, and then out of that, their life, they went to school, and one of them, in fact, one of them is currently in one of them who used to be around, one of them currently in China doing her master's degree. So you never know what God could do through people. So we have a role to play in the lives of these children. Yeah.
Amazing. I hope those who are listening are encouraged and are strengthened and motivated and inspired to reach out to the less privileged. I'm so touched by those kids because Each and every one of them has a destiny. Each and every one of them, like you said, was created in the image of God. They have specific purposes that they are supposed to fulfill in this world. But currently they are stuck in one orphanage or the other. And if the church does not reach out to them to try to help them develop themselves into people who can be useful to society, they will just waste away in those places, either get abused or something could go wrong with them, or they might just lose their lives and will lose the destinies of these people. So I hope that wherever we are, we're making a decision today to begin to reach out to the kids who are fatherless, who are motherless, and who are stuck in these orphanages. And like you said, many of them don't have good education. You have to even pay for extra classes for them so that they can keep up with the rest of the class. And these are things that a lot of people don't pay attention to. In fact, most people just don't care. But I'm glad that you're doing that kingdom work, and you're leading the way over there in Liberia. So, do you have any final words for our audience before you go?
Well, I just want to tell people that their needs, and especially those that live in the West that are watching this program, what you might now take to be much, $100 meal in a restaurant, it could sponsor a child in Africa. And I think if we're sharing our wealth like the early church did, I think the church will accomplish a lot. Right? The church will accomplish a lot. And let's go in our deepest processes. It may not just be maybe helping, extending help to us, but there are other organizations around Africa that are doing tremendous work. Let's reach out. Those are all that are in position. Let's reach out, because at the end of the day, we can never be wrong when we invest in people. And that's God's desire. That's God's desire. And I'm honored to be on this program. It's an extreme privilege to be able to share our story, the things we're doing. And I hope it has inspired somebody that people who are involved with kingdom work, and some of them may not be at the height of the euphoria that we see on television and the internet, but they're doing genuine kingdom work and so forth like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. What's the name of your ministry in Liberia?
The name of our ministry is Kingdom Ambassadors Ministry. Kingdom
Ambassadors Ministry. All right.
Ministry. And then our scholarship.
Hi. Hello.
Foundation. Hope Ambassador Scholarship.
Sorry, come again. We lost you for a second there, but you seem to be back now. Please come again.
Yeah, the scholarship. The scholarship is called Hope Ambassador Scholarship. Our scholarship form is called Hope Ambassador Scholarship.
Hope Ambassador Scholarship. Okay.
Ambassador Scholarship. Yeah. And I'm just sending you the email address now to your Skype that you can be able to include on the something.
Yes, we'll put it on the top of the page on both Facebook and YouTube, so that people can reach out to you and make donations and ask you questions and be able to get in contact with you and get whatever it is that they need, either from you or to give to you. So we want to just appreciate you for coming on. You're doing such a great job. We want to say God bless you. Thank you very much for being one of the few people who is not running away from problems in Africa, but you're running towards the problems. You're helping. You're bringing solutions. You're answering God's call. You're living out your purpose, even in a tough and in a very challenging environment. So I want to salute you and want to say God bless you. Keep up the great job. We'll still keep in touch with you. We hope that you will come back next time with a lot more testimonies and a lot more stories to help inspire other people who are still sitting on their couches comfortably in their churches, waiting for God to come and waiting for the second coming of Jesus. And I hope that they will spring up and begin to do something as well. So thank you very much, Pastor Benjamin Yeager, all the way from Liberia. Remain blessed, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, bye for now. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Pastor Benjamin. I hope you were challenged and inspired by his testimony. You can see that doing God's kingdom work is something that is of utmost importance, and is something that every one of us has been called to. There are no exemptions. Every single person on this earth was created to do something in God's kingdom. And I believe that wherever you are listening to us today, you are being prompted in your spirit to also seek out your purpose and begin to live it out. There are a lot of lives attached to you. There are a lot of destinies attached to you. The longer you wait to begin to fulfill your purpose, the longer a lot of people are going to be suffering and left to, left to the devices of the devil. Now imagine if he was not reaching out to those orphans. Imagine if he didn't go to that Muslim community to begin to win souls for Christ. That place today will still be a place where evil prevails, where darkness prevails. But because he has gone to that place, he's bringing light and he's bringing a lot of prosperity and hope and joy to the people in that less privileged environment. So ladies and gentlemen, the ball is in your court. God is looking for people who are willing to begin to live out their purpose. If you look through the Bible, you'll see in a lot of instances where God was saying, I don't find a man. I cannot find a man. There is no one. I'm looking for just one person who is willing to step into the gap. And I believe that as you make yourself available, God will use you in ways that are beyond your imagination. Now, for those of you who want to be trained on how to become kingdom ambassadors, who want to become disciples, who want to become sons, you can always subscribe to Dr. Sunday's mentorship program, and you'll be taught how you can become a kingdom servant. Now, a lot of people want to serve God, but they don't know how. There are trainings that have been set up for you in his mentorship program. You can go on his YouTube channel and you will see a lot of videos that will talk you through, or that he has made, that would teach you how to become a kingdom servant. There are a lot of books on Amazon.com. If you live in Nigeria, dsabooksplanet.com and bambooks.io. These are platforms where you can get as many books as possible. You will learn about the kingdom. Our guest today talked about Church Shift. That is a book that I believe every Christian needs to read. It is a must read for every Christian, because when you read it, it will shift your mentality and it will shift your religious mindset and make you to begin to really see things from God's perspective and from the kingdom perspective. You can find these books at Amazon. You can find them on dsabooks.com. You can find these books on bambooks.io for those of you who are in Nigeria. So I hope you take full advantage of all of these resources. If you want to read articles about the church, if you want to read articles about the kingdom, about national development, you can go to sundayadelajablog.com. There are over 100 articles over there that you can read that will help to change your mentality, that will help inform you and arm you with some knowledge that you need to be able to go into your world and make a difference. So ladies and gentlemen, please take advantage of all that has been presented to you and begin to make a difference in your world. Now, for those of you who want to join the mentorship group, please write to the email address that we're going to put below so that you'll be able to receive information on what you're supposed to do. Now, like I said, we're going to be attaching the address and the contact information of Pastor Benjamin to the top of this comment section. So I hope you reach out to him. Those of you who want to do outreach in Africa, reach out to him, join him, partner with him, and I believe that the Lord will bless you. All right. Thank you very much. Until next week, have a great week. And please keep charging and keep going into the world and making a difference for God. Don't retreat, don't surrender, don't be discouraged. We are light and we must shine. There's a lot of darkness out there, but I believe that in the end, by God's grace, we will win because we are his representatives here on earth. Till next week, have a great time.